about to buy that anime DVD or Blu-ray from Amazon, you might want to hold off on that for a minute. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur. Welcome to my media channel where we talk about physical media streaming and all the ways that we consume our entertainment and, of course, anime. I am your host, Kevin, and if you like videos like this, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, smash that like, and leave a comment below on topics you would like to see us discuss in a future video on this channel. With that said, I now have to give a bit of a, public service announcement to a lot of American anime fans, and that is really be careful before you buy anime on physical media in America, because you might be getting a raw deal. Now, despite what the title of this video says, I am going to open up by saying I am not trying to encourage people to not buy anime locally at all. In fact, when it is possible and when it benefits you, I highly recommend you do so. Unfortunately, the state of anime on physical media in America is such that for a lot of situations, in fact, it might be wiser to import your anime from the UK or some other country rather than buying it in America. Or Canada. I think Canada has actually got most of our releases, so Canada counts as well. We'll start by showing off this beautiful steelbook edition of Millennium Actress, Satoshi Kon film. Now, Shout Factory and 11 Arts made a wonderful package here. I love the steelbook. I love the artwork on it. I haven't actually broken out the disc yet, but I do plan to do so at some point, or at least I thought I was going to do it. This will actually, in fact, be sold on eBay because I found out that the exact same movie can be bought in the UK, except there's a major difference with that release. That release has a 4K ultra high definition release of the movie. And Millennium Actress was a movie made with traditional animation. It's a wonderful movie. It would clearly benefit from a 4K release. And yet, in America, despite him being one of the most important directors to come from Japan in terms of the anime films he's created, probably just as important as Hayao Miyazaki and Makoto Shinkai, we did not get a 4K release of Millennium Actress, even though a transfer exists. That's a shame, and that had me digging deeper. I was also happy to see that Future Boy Conan was released in America. This is a series that I never thought would ever come. Now, I've got more to say about this and why this is a little bit of a dilemma for me. I'm glad I bought this one. I probably won't sell it, and yet there's an international release that is also in 4K. This was restored from the original negatives into a 4K transfer. We got it as best we could on a Blu-ray, but if you want like a true 4K release with English subtitles and stuff like that, you're going to have to go overseas. And it's not just 4K releases either that's making me look overseas for more of my anime fixes. It's also traditional releases like this one, 5 centimeters per second. This one's from Discotek and Crunchyroll, and this is a wonderful movie. The only reason I haven't opened it, you'll see a lot of sealed stuff because I buy to preserve, but I stream most of the time. But this is, a fine release. It's got the movie, it's got English and Japanese. There's not a whole lot more you could want, except overseas you can get it in a steelbook case with the soundtrack for just a few dollars more. That's kind of nice. Why the CDs don't cost much? Why don't those come with this? And that's not the only Makoto Shinkai film to get the short end of the stick. There's actually at least 3 in this video. But Children Who Chase Lost Voices, which this is not only out of print in America, but if you go to the UK or you go to one of those sites that sell UK discs, you can not only get this in a beautiful steelbook, again, it comes with a CD, and for $15 less than what this will normally sell for on eBay. It should be noted that G-Kids will be putting many of these out-of-print Makoto Shinkai films back onto the store shelves in new editions, whether they come with CDs or not. I guess we'll have to see. If they are watching this, though, I would highly encourage them to do something special, because otherwise I have to still encourage people to buy the overseas release, not the American releases. one of the most important anime films in most recent history, and in fact, the Anime Man did a top 100 list, and I think it was number 1 or number 2 on that list in terms of most loved anime of all time, and that is Your Name. Now, I'm not going to fault Funimation for this release too much. This is a wonderful release. Look at that cover. You can see it shining, everything like that. They even went above and beyond and created a collector's edition. And these releases are very good. They would be absolutely nice in anyone's collection. Unfortunately, yet again, the UK has a 4K ultra high definition release. And so if you've got a great TV like that, then you're going to want to buy that release, not this one. Getting into a more mainstream release, but somehow a less mainstream release at the same time, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F was, well, really good Dragon Ball Z movie. Dragon Ball does very well in America and all over the world. And so you would think that, well, what on earth could an import Blu-ray have that the American version doesn't? Well, here's the thing. Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, well, it was made in 3D. It's not in 3D in America. In all fairness, it's not in 3D in the UK either. But if you get the France Blu-ray, well, then the French must have loved 3D at the time because there's a 3D version on it. Now, this release does not have an English language version or English subtitles to my knowledge, so you're basically going to be letting the images do the talking. But then, don't most of us just watch Dragon Ball Z for the images anyway? And what about anime that is out of print? Planets is one of the greatest science fiction anime ever made, in my opinion. If you have not seen this, this is one of the ones you need to see before you die, with a little asterisk that the first 3 episodes are not that great. But once you get beyond that, holy cow, is Planets a wonderful anime. It was released on DVD almost, maybe more than 10 years ago by Bandai, but to my knowledge, no one ever re-released it here. Yet if you go to the UK, you can buy the entire series, and it comes in a collector's edition to boot. This is simply a situation where it's not available in America. So you go to the UK, you can find tons of these out-of-print anime titles, and they're usually given collector's editions that are really nice and look great on your shelf. But really, the title that kind of got me started on this whole thing and got me to look a little deeper, and then I realized how I was getting massively screwed as an anime fan in terms of physical media, was with Bell, Mamoru Hosoda's latest masterpiece. Now, for those of you who want to read my print review of Bell, I will leave a link below to my iCritic website, which may also eventually be the new name of this channel in a few months. Spoiler alert. But Bell was treated so wonderfully in America. I got to see it in IMAX. It was wonderful. This is a great movie. I wish I could show clips of how beautiful this is, but my video review got copyright flagged to death, so I'm not going to do that here. And so when I found out about the Steelbook Blu-ray coming out, I instantly pre-ordered it. I'm probably not going to keep that pre-order, though, because, again, our buddies in the UK, they're not only releasing it in 4K ultra high definition, it's going to come with a copy of the soundtrack CD. Now, this is the Japanese soundtrack, not the English soundtrack. I kind of wish they had included both in there, because I know there's this huge debate about dubbed songs versus Japanese songs, but I think the dubbed songs in Bell were really good, and it's easier to listen to in the car when other people are in there than the Japanese one. Either way, it looks like a wonderful set. And if the only thing G-Kids is offering me is a Steelbook, then I'm canceling my pre-order and I'm buying it overseas. And you know, that's kind of a strange thing to me, because I kind of just assumed there was no 4K transfer, because G-Kids did this wonderful collector's edition of Weathering with You, another Makoto Shinkai film. You may be noticing a trend here. And it had the Blu-ray, the Ultra 4K, the soundtrack. It costs more than what it normally did. I think I paid $70 for this. But this is the kind of set that I want to see more of. And the fact that they are not doing this with Bell, even though it seems like a collector's set at the very least exists that they could copy and bring over, leads me to believe that this must not have sold very well, and they basically decided they didn't want to do it again. And that leads to a huge dilemma for the most part, because if anyone from Funimation or Crunchyroll or G-Kids is watching this, this is going to become a problem if this becomes a more well-known thing. I think most anime fans, especially those that buy physical media, they do want to buy the product. They want to support the product. And yet, as this becomes more common, if people start to realize that they can get the better box sets overseas, the better visual transfers overseas, then they're going to go overseas and buy them, especially if they have English dubs and English subtitles on those discs. And at least with 4K discs, region locking isn't really the thing that it used to be. Full disclosure, some of these Blu-rays I've mentioned might have some region locking, so make sure you have a region-free player. And I also know how that's going to hurt, though. You know, physical media sales are way down in America, to the point where even Disney is basically just releasing new releases and their most marketable titles. They're not going to be putting A Kid in King Arthur's Court on 4K. They're not going to be restoring the Santa Claus trilogy in a 4K set. Heck, they probably won't even do the original Star Wars trilogy in 4K. They're just going to be doing future animated movies and Marvels and Pixar and things like that, and then that's going to be the end of that one. So you know that anime studios are especially struggling. And I know that 4K is not always the cheapest thing to press. I know the market, especially in America, seems especially small, because even though streaming has overtaken the world, in America, streaming has really grabbed a hold of people who basically have sworn off buying physical media ever again. Whereas in other overseas markets and other countries, streaming is seen kind of more like a complementary thing to physical media. So I know why anime companies might not want to invest in it, but if this becomes a reoccurring thing and it starts to become common knowledge that the better version is overseas, they're not going to buy it domestically, they're going to buy it overseas, and that could create an even bigger sinkhole in America. And yeah, I know, I'm kind of contributing to that potential future by making this video. Sue me. I want anime fans to also see their anime in the best way possible. Now, I'm not saying that these things don't come to America. In fact, I really encourage people to look before they jump overseas. Case in point, this wonderful Demon Slayer box set. It's not in 4K, but it does have the soundtrack. It has cards. This is a Right Stuff exclusive. And they're not sponsoring this video, but always check out Right Stuff before you check out the overseas market. Right Stuff will sometimes get exclusive discs or sets that only they get, and they are priced higher. This was $80. You know, I could have bought the regular Blu-ray for $20, so that's a huge markup. That's a very expensive soundtrack in some ways. But I want to support the limited edition releases here, and this was a very nice set, so I bought it. And so you can always check sites like Right Stuff first to see if they have an exclusive. But then if they don't have an exclusive, and if an overseas company in the UK has a better product, you might want to consider just importing and getting the better product. Needless to say, it's kind of frustrating to know that this is kind of a thing. And again, I don't know exactly what the solution is. I don't work for G-Kids. I don't see their books. I don't even know how profitable these movies are, to be perfectly frank. And so when it makes sense, I buy them as possible, because I do believe G-Kids does us a service by bringing these movies over here. With that said, buying physical media is no longer a cheap hobby. In fact, it's gotten very expensive, because as less stores carry it, the less fans can be picky about the prices, because some of these things don't even stay in production very long. And so you might as well buy it now or pay way higher inflated prices on eBay later on. And so it kind of pains me to be saying don't buy from G-Kids in America if there is a better version overseas, but that's kind of what I have to do. And I'm going to be perfectly frank, I am canceling my Bell Steelbook pre-order. because I won't need it anymore. And it kind of pains me to say that. I want to support the local anime industry. I want to give it my money. By the same token, I also want the best possible product. Like, this is not a situation where I am saying, I don't think the quality on Crunchyroll is very good, therefore I'm going to pirate it instead because Crunchyroll won't do things like skip intros or, make it easy to toggle language switch. They should do that and it would make the experience much better, but I know that, basically having to sit through the intro or manually fast forward it is a first world problem and does not justify basically stealing it. This is a scenario where I want to buy the product, but there is another version of that product overseas that is better. Therefore, I will take that money and pay for that one. I am still buying the product legally. It's still going to the Japanese makers. It's just supporting a market I don't live in, and I would prefer to support two markets. I would like to support the Japanese market in the makers and everything and the animators, and I would like to support the American market that brings me the anime so that they will keep bringing me the anime. And I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because if I buy from the UK, I'm kind of supporting the anime, but I'm not supporting it coming over here per se. So it's a very complicated problem.
Hey everyone, quick little addition here. I completely forgot about my point about Future Boy Conan, and that is this. Anime Limited in the UK did release the 4K discs of this series in two parts, of which I have bought them, and I believe they are on their way now. But here's one of the problems. A series like Future Boy Conan is so unlikely to come to America in the first place that to deprive it of a sale basically encourages anime companies to not bring any more vintage anime to America. It took us so long to get the very original Lupin the Third TV series here because many companies felt it was just too old and not profitable. So situations like that are especially unfortunate because fans of Hayao Miyazaki will want the 4K release, but they're going to buy it overseas if they are aware it exists. And that might deprive the series of some sales in America, sales that it might desperately need to convince companies to release other vintage anime. I'd still like to see Masterpiece Theater in America, but who knows? So that was kind of the big dilemma point that I was going to make, but kind of forgot about. So let's continue the video.
And it's, of course, a first world problem, but hey, this is a media channel. We talk about media. And now I have to pass the question to you. First of all, did you know that you were missing out on all these 4K and 3D and special editions, and in some cases, entire series that have not been available in America or Canada for, in some cases, decades? Did you know that you could buy them overseas in the UK and other countries? Do you feel ripped off now? Are you going to start readjusting where you buy your anime now? Are you going to be a super soldier and buy it here and overseas just to support, or do you think, no, I'm just going to buy it overseas and forget the American market? And if anyone from 4Kids, or I keep saying 4Kids, why do I keep saying 4Kids? G-Kids. If anyone from G-Kids is watching this, is there a reason that the 4K releases are never coming over here, or they're coming over here so little? Was the Weathering with You collector's edition really sell that poorly? Maybe we could do like an interview podcast. I would love to talk to you about this situation because I think it's kind of crummy for fans to be put in a position of support the anime market in physical media form, which it desperately needs as much support as it can get, but do it at the cost of getting the better product overseas, or get the better product overseas and deprive the American anime market of sales that it desperately... That seems like a very bad situation we put in. But I would like to know what all of you think about that. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.